Hey ladies, this is UnderWired. Welcome to the show designed to uplift and support women all over the world.
Hey, I'm Lindsay. They call me the kindest kahuna and the imaginal connector. I love puppies, travel, great coffee, and all of you out there who love humanity.
I'm Betsy Wiersma, a serial entrepreneur and lover of doing good and having fun. My passion is connecting hearts and souls with art, ideas, and adventures.
Hey, I'm Shay Sparks. As an energetic catalyst and fearless communicator, I love to have great conversations with amazing people.
And I'm Sunny, mom of 4, here to shed light on what really matters. Together, we're UnderWired. And now for the show.
Hey,
Hi, everybody.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe it's Monday already and we have to do another show and it's like, woohoo, here we are. I'm so excited. Before we get all into the topic and everything, I wanted to ask you ladies, I've been thinking a lot about self-care, self-love. Are we doing the things that really take care of ourselves? Okay. So I want to just ask you, is there anything that you did this week that was just good just for you? Anything at all? I'm going to kick it off with Shay. You look like you're nodding. You have something you did. Let's start there.
Yes. Well, I am in the beautiful Denver, Colorado area for Podcast Movement. Yay! Live. And I was blessed to have a hot tub and a pool. And so this morning, as soon as it opened at 9 a.m., I was out there doing my water aerobics in the hot tub and then splish splashing in the pool. And it was just beautiful. The weather was gorgeous. The little bit of view of the mountains I could see. It was just very peaceful and zen, and it kicked my day off exactly what I needed.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah. Cindy, how about you?
So as you guys know, I live in the San Diego area, and we were supposed to have this huge hurricane that was coming our way, right? So I thought my weekend and into today was going to be much different than it ended up being. So my husband and I, we went out really early on Saturday, got groceries and a little extra water and whatever we might need to, bear down in the storm or whatever. And it didn't really end up coming our way too much. So I had all this extra free time because I thought I wasn't going to have power. I thought I wasn't going to have anything. And so any work I needed to get done and everything I did early. So I just had some lovely time with my kiddos. We were just hanging out, watching TV. It was good for the soul. Sometimes I don't get a chance just to do that, and just be in the moment and just appreciate them. And so since all my work was done, I hung out with my kids. Yeah.
You could have pretended to lose power. Oh, kids, all your devices don't work. Collect all the
should have done that.
Emergency. Collect all the phones.
I think this might be the new self-care program. Just the hurricane power outage.
Yeah. Operation good. Hurricane. There we go.
There you go.
Betsy, how about you? What did you do this week?
Well, I'm reading this really cool book about stamping out hurry. It's really fascinating. And it's really talking about hurry, like disrupts your soul, listening to God. And the first thing was be more like Jesus, take a Sabbath. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have never done that in 62 years of life. I've never taken a Sabbath. Even when I was a kid, my parents didn't go to church. We always did stuff on Sunday. So this Sunday, I did everything for my soul. So I made art. I listened to Caleb. I didn't worry about any work, anything. I was with my family. We had family friends over for dinner. I didn't cook. I catered. So I didn't take it all on. So I did that for me and not take it on like, oh, now I have to do this whole thing. So I just figured there's people that cook. And we loved Indian food. And we got this fabulous Indian food carry out and helped a really great restaurant in our neighborhood. So I did everything for Betsy yesterday. And it really did change my perspective coming into the week. I felt really filled up and could welcome Shay and give her a good morning kiss, although she dissed my hot tub. I mean, hey, for the big fancy hot tub, she could have been in my hot tub. But maybe this weekend she'll take me up on my hot tub.
That's awesome. Yes, I think hot tubs are one of the best self-care. And in the spirit of the show that we're about to engage in, I went for the best walk with my dog and one of my other sisters who lives down the street with her dog. And we just went on the best morning walk. And it was so nourishing and, I don't know, liberating. And it just felt so good. And that's what led us to today's topic, which is sisterhood. I love that little twinkle sound, so I had to be patient. And I'm so excited to have all of us here to talk about sisterhood today because you are my sisters. I don't have any biological sisters, and I've collected, it seems like a good maybe 6 or 7 sisters, of which you are 3, that I just really rely on for things in my life when I feel down and out and, just want someone to listen to me, create some, story about something. You're always there. And so what I thought would be fun to talk about, since I have the B word today, my B word is actually bonus. And the word bonus means something to me. So I'm a bonus mom to a couple of different kids who kind of adopted me as a mom figure for them when they were young, and they've just grown up, and I still think of them as my bonus kids, and they call me bonus mom, and it's just really fun to think about it. And I was kind of going back in time and thinking about many places where I have been a bonus, call it a family member or whatever, to someone that just needed a little extra mentorship and maybe some support. And it's lasted for what feels like their entire lifetime, or maybe mine. In some cases, I have a bonus mom. Her name is Helen. And so I just think it's really fun to think about where we can kind of be bonuses in other people's lives as a relationship. So I'm going to pitch it over to you guys and say, where have you been a bonus? Or maybe you've received a bonus benefit from someone in your life who just jumped in and took the role of something that you really needed. And Bets, I'm going to pitch it over to you right now.
Well, I think I'm a bonus aunt. So my friend Carol has a daughter, Katrina, and she has 2 darling children, and they call me Aunt Betsy. And matter of fact, even the little one said something like, we're on the cruise we're all going on. They have the family photo picture package, and they said, is Aunt Betsy going to be in the family photos? So, I mean, it's really fun that they think I'm a biological aunt, but I really think the reason I'm a biological Aunt Betsy, and even though I'm not biological, because ever since they've been small, we have done art together. So I have been the place where they could come to my house, do art in my craft room. I'm always like looking on the lookout for cool things for them, supplies for them, stickers. I just sent them home with all Sarah's kid stickers, from age 0 to now. I just had a huge bag of stickers. And then I found these like inspirational cards to go in their lunch boxes. So I think it's been so fun because they're littles. They're like now 13 and 9. So they're just coming up. Matter of fact, the bonus Aunt Betsy got to meet with the robotics club this week. And they interviewed me. 7 girls under the age of 13 interviewed me about being an artist and what was my motivation. And they were so darling. And then Carol gave them each one of my infinity scarves, and these little 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds wrapped up in these infinity scarves. And I said, see, when you wear art, it makes you happy. And these little girls were just like, you're right, Aunt Betsy. It is awesome. And it was really fun to pour into them. So I think that is what comes to mind the most. To be a bonus aunt and to really pour. I think the fun is to pour into somebody, to just really take your time, treasure, and talents and be there for them. I don't have littles, Sonny. If I live close to you, I'd pour into your littles because I'd be happy to be a bonus Aunt Betsy for them too. And Lindsay's are all grown up and Sarah's 21. So
I think that's an awesome role, Betsy. And you really are. You're a bonus aunt and a bonus sister to a lot of people, including myself. You definitely go way out of your way to be in service to others as a sister. And it really shows. So thank you. All right, Miss Shay, where have you been a bonus, or have you received a bonus person in your life?
Yeah, well, I'm like Betsy. I'm Auntie Shay Shay to all my friends' kids.
I love that.
I have 2 older brothers, and none of us had children. And so my friends started having kids, and I would go and hold them and spoil them rotten and then hand them back to mom and dad and be like, I'm out. And that was the best part, right? Give them all the candy, get them all riled up.
Oh, no, not the candy.
When they would go, they would
send them home with the sugar high.
Yes, exactly.
when they said, "Oh, it's time for bed," I'm like, "Oh, you want to play now? Yes, let's play now." Those types of things. The loudest toys, spoil and rotten with the loudest toys at Christmas and, birthdays and all of that. And what that really created as they got older was a bond where they shared things with me that they never told their parents. And of course, I would swear on my heart and cross the heart, hope to die kind of thing, that I swear I would never tell mom and dad. And of course I did. And I said to them, you can never break that bond and tell them that I told you this, but for their safety, you need to know. But that, I mean, God, I probably have, I think I counted one time, I think there was 16 I was the unofficial Auntie Shay Shay, or they called me Auntie Shay Shay, depending on what age they came into my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's so good. I love that, Shay. Thank you. And it sounds like you had a lot of fun doing it. And I know you are definitely another one of those people who's a bonus sister to a lot of people. You lift up and support others all the time. So thank you for being a bonus in my life, for sure. I'm really honored. Yeah. Sunny, how about you, Miss Bonus?
Yeah. So we're kind of notorious for having really good friends and then calling them, like, to our kids, "Oh, Uncle so-and-so or Aunt so-and-so." So we've kind of done that over the years. I could rattle off a bunch of people that I kind of consider aunts and uncles, because you have to understand, my family, like my immediate family, we live pretty far away from, our parents, and, my husband has a sister. They're all back in Ohio. Okay. And we're out here. And so we've needed people like that because we were kind of on our own. Right. And so we've had friends in the past do that. I would have to say, who am I helping at this moment? And the first thing that came to mind is we do have, like, in our neighborhood, we've got a gated community, and we have a bunch of houses right in a row, and all of our kids are the same age. And so when the weather's nice, which is most of the time in San Diego, except our hurricane that just came through, the kids will just go from door to door and go into everybody's houses, right? And play, and I don't know, make cotton candy and popsicles and whatever. So you kind of have to deal with the mob as it goes from house to house. And whoever has the mob is the mom or dad. And we just have an understanding that, hey, like, if my kid's doing something, like, you have my permission, like, guide this group. Don't let them go crazy. And they're all good kids, right? But that's the first thing that came to mind, is that if it's my day, if the mob is at my house, then I'm the mom for several little humans that, can be quite boisterous, especially when they get all that sugar and stuff. But yeah, parents stick together. It's one of those things that, you just kind of got to do. And sometimes you got a mom and dad other kids,
that's just it. And it really does take a village to raise good children. And I love that you're the mob mom. That's like
mom. Trying to say that 10 times.
Speaking of my shirt,
hey,
UnderWired.
You love it. Well, we do have a couple of people in our audience that have also been bonus folks. I don't know if Rashika, she was telling us that she has a couple of kids that have become teenagers, and it was the best time ever to be, like you, kind of a mob mom. Yeah. And Becky says, "I've had 2 young cousins that are just like my own children." I love that.
Oh, nice.
Sometimes it's just really important, especially for little people, to feel like they have a bonus. I have now a bonus grandson named Jeremiah, who is just priceless to me. And he's not even 2 yet, but he's adorable. And I think one of the things about being a bonus, I'm a bonus nana, right? So I've asked him to call me Banana.
Oh, I love that.
Banana? Nana banana.
Bonus Nana banana.
I am banana.
I love that.
I've been teaching him. I call him and say, "This is banana." So I think it's important that little people know that they have love from all walks of life and from all around. So the word was bonus, and I'm just grateful that we all get to participate in sisterhood and bonushood. So it's pretty cool.
Yep.
Sweet. Well, I get to pass it over here to Miss Sunny, who is going to do our next segment.
Yeah. So I have our R word today, guys. And our R word is relate. So when it comes to sisterhood, and I know we've talked about this before on the show, but obviously your tribe, your sisterhood tribe, you have to be able to relate to them. And as I was thinking about today's topic, I was like, yeah, but there's certain seasons. I'm calling them sisterhood seasons. Hashtag.
I like that. Yeah.
Let's go take that.
Right?
Yeah.
Where, you're with a certain group, or maybe it's just one other person or whatever, and that is your tribe for the moment. But as your life starts to change and you go through different seasons, because this happens to everybody, your sisterhood tribe may change. And sometimes, and this is happening a lot right now, so I'm hoping everyone is very cognizant of this, people that aren't meant to be in your life, especially as, if you guys are really following timelines and everything that's going on there, people that aren't meant to be in your life will start to slowly go away. And new people that were meant to be in your life will start to appear. Yeah. And as this starts to happen, your sisterhood, who you consider part of your sisterhood or your groups, and you can have multiple groups. It doesn't have to just be, one. Right. That's going to start to change. But it all boils down. I feel like the common denominator is being able to relate to a group on some sort of level. Yeah. And so one of the things I wanted to acknowledge today, even though it can be a little bit sad, is this whole thing we're going through now, where sometimes, again, we're going to have to leave a group. And because there's something bigger and better waiting for us and for them too, maybe you weren't meant to be in their life or whatever the situation may be. I think that's going to start happening more and more. I'm starting to see it happen in my own life. And, some of it's a little bit sad. I have girlfriends of mine that, we met in high school. I've considered them my best friends my whole life, even though we have not lived in the same location pretty much since high school. And I can see us going in our own paths. And part of me just wants to hold on to that so much, because it is nice to get together when we do get together and reminisce. But it's such an eclectic group of women, because our common denominator, the way we relate to each other, is because we grew up together. We grew up, we happened to live 5 minutes from each other. Some of the girls, I played softball with, some of them I was a cheerleader with, some of them I danced with. And we all kind of came together as a group. And I'm seeing us start to go our other ways after 45 years. And it's like, and part of me just wants to hold on to it because it's been there so long. And I'm not saying that it's going to completely dissipate, but I'm starting to see it go away. And like I said, my gut feeling is, no, this is a 45-year friendship. No, literally, I grew up with these people. But we're so different. And so when thinking, that is, our location and, being able to reminisce about high school and all these, that's what, held us together. But nowadays it's like, how often do I talk about high school? It's not very much. And it's so funny, because I was talking to my husband about this recently, and he's like, it's so interesting with you and your friends, because you guys would never be friends nowadays. If you met nowadays, never would have been friends.
Right.
Yeah,
it's
that's a good sign.
True. It is so true. But it's also, they're also kind of a good litmus test for me, because I can run stuff by them that I probably wouldn't run past like other groups that I'm in, just to see how they feel about different things. Because again, we don't have that much in common anymore. And if I want to get, an idea of what other people think, I run it past this group. So anyway, I was just thinking about this, and I was like, that group was so important to me for such a big portion of my life. And now I feel like it's kind of fading a little bit. So ladies, my question to you is, can you remember a time in your life where things were changing in your life and you either had to leave a sisterhood, your beliefs, your whatever was changing, and you no longer quite fit inside this one group? And how did you process that? How did that, transition happen? Because it is kind of sad. It is kind of sad. But then I also know that if in letting whatever's going to happen and letting that happen, I'm also opening myself up to what's next. And that to me is extremely exciting. Yeah. So I don't know, Lindsay, what do you think?
Oh man, you have called on the girl where this is her department. So as an imaginal in life, I have transformed and probably shifted maybe 4 or 5 times friends groups, starting from, we'll start in junior high and work our way up. I would say every decade, and I'm in my 50s. So that's about right. Every decade. And what it's a sign is that you're going from caterpillar to butterfly. And what's really hard is for butterflies to be friends with caterpillars in the same way they always were, because they're an entirely transformed being. And so when we shift and we grow and we become more of the thing we are meant to be, it is by default that people will have to peel off, because they're probably not in the same time zone that you're in terms of your transformation. Doesn't mean they can't catch up. Doesn't mean that they won't be there again. It just means that in the now, it doesn't really fit. So I would say that I have gone through this at least 5 times in my life and have completely shifted out people. My high school friends have not been anywhere in touch with me for probably close to 20 years. And I'm coming up on my 40th reunion. So, it's kind of that when you let go and you really surrender into becoming the fullest you and you learn and grow, this is normal. It's not necessarily easy. And I used to say to people, consciousness is not for sissies, but it is part of the process. There's a wonderful book out there called Conscious Uncoupling that I encourage people to really take a look at when this starts happening. Sometimes it even happens with spouses, but I found that book was very, very helpful, even for close-in relationships, when you just realize, wow, I have outgrown this circumstance or this group or whatever it is. That book had some very good tips for how to do it graciously and consciously and intentionally, rather than just explosion. So
I got to check out that book. That sounds amazing. And you brought up something that was really interesting. We don't have time to dive into it today because we're talking about sisterhood, but it's going to be really interesting to see where relationships go as we transition from, whatever 3D to 5D or 4D, whichever your path is, because you brought up marriage.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other topic that maybe we can dive into sometime. But again, that is a relationship. So are you, we have this idea of marriage being forever, and it's kind of like, again, we can't dive into this today, but that is a whole other thing.
A whole show around this.
Whole other show. Okay. Betsy, what do you think?
Well, interesting. So many of you know or don't know that for the last 18 years, I ran a camp experience network. So I was the mother of 5,000 women. I was in charge of everything. I was doing all the programming, all the marketing, all the fundraising. I was 24/7, 7 days a week for 18 years serving these women. So I had one set of sisters in that season. So I had my committee of 24. I had my 80 sponsors. I had so many people that were all connected because of our do good, have fun philosophy and our being in a women's network. And so that was a very big season of my life. And that was a very close-knit group that were all moving in the similar direction towards serving each other and serving women. Okay, fast forward, completely different life right now. Another person's running the network. It's really a lot of very young 20, 30-year-old entrepreneurs, which is awesome, but it's not my 45, 65, 75-year-old friends that were always around. I bought a house in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Totally new community. Going to be living down there December through March. So physically, emotionally, mentally, all things have changed. And I really noticed out of the Camp Experience Network, of all those people, there's probably 4 or 5 super good friends that just kept together with me as soul sisters that had nothing to do with camp, although we met in that network. And now as I move into New Smyrna, I have a new friend, Raquel, that's helping with the New Smyrna arts community. And of course I have Lindsay and Shay, but I also have my friend Jeannie in the neighborhood who does the Be Kind signs, and I've been able to volunteer with her. So I feel like you were saying, girls, as you kind of change your palette and clear off some space, God can use that opening to bring in some new friends and some new groups that serve you. And so I put my favorite prayer in the chat for those of you that are on Telegram. Dear God, send me the people, places, and things to serve you, Lord, and let all others fall away. And the fall away part is the really growth part, because really being able to say, like, I'm going to attract some new friends. Becky, I'm mentioning your name out loud because she's in the chat. New friends that Lindsay and I met at The Chosen, and make space for these new friends that are like-hearted and let things fall away that just are not in that season anymore. Not bad or wrong, no judgment, but just like you guys were saying, maybe in a different space, or we're just not contributing the same way. I would lastly say, in the beginning of transitioning with some friendships along the way, I was seeing my Reiki master and I was getting Reiki, and I was like, I don't understand why this person did this terrible thing to me. And she said, well, because your vibration has changed and she's not attracted to you the same way as when you were different. So you have changed, your vibration's different, you're going to attract different. And that was a great shift of thinking. It wasn't, I didn't do something wrong. It wasn't like, oh, bad. It was just like different, as Lindsay said, coming out of the cocoon. So it's an exciting time. Stay tuned to next season when we talk about new friends. How did it ever work?
Yeah. I mean, Shay and I are going to be married by this time next season. So I don't know.
To each other?
Speaking of new friends. Speaking of attracting new friends, take it away, Shay.
Go ahead, Shay.
It's funny, this topic about, changing in friends is changing of seasons. Every time I've moved, or changed jobs, I've changed friends, right? But the thing that I have realized at this stage in life, and in most of it's because I've had amazing friends who have told me that, is like, Shay, you are the person that I can go 20 years without talking to you and pick up the phone or meet you for coffee, and we pick up right where we left off. And I have to say that I'm 120,000% honored that they say that. And I think it's because I try to meet people where they are, instead of thinking about, oh yeah, let's talk about high school, which I did that for many years. And then I realized, like, that person probably doesn't want to talk about high school anymore, or doesn't want to, drudge up all the heartache and the drama they were going through. They probably don't want to talk about that. So let's talk about something now. And just seeing people for who they are and relating to them in a way that is just highlighting them and loving on them. And I just had a phone call with a guy, talk about not sisterhood, but a brotherhood. We have known each other since kindergarten, and we talk maybe every 5 years at a class reunion. That's it. Or when someone in our sphere of knowing people passes away. And he just called me out of the blue to wish me a happy birthday last week. And it was just amazing to catch up. And it's like no time has ever passed. So I think really it's about loving people where they are.
I think that's really important. And one of the things, like, when I think back on my group of friends, it's like, we're all so different now. And I think that's why we keep clinging on to what the common thing we used to have, together, because we can't have those conversations with each other anymore about what's currently happening, because we don't agree. Right. And it's like, And like I said, sometimes it can be painful, but the more we try to hold on to that stuff, the more painful it can become. Right. So that's kind of the mental process I'm in now, is like, let go, let God, let that happen the way it's supposed to happen. But awesome conversations, ladies. All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have our A word. Hello and welcome to United Network News. I'm Sunny Galt. Now let's check in with our ground command, Kimberly Gogan, from the Office of the Guardian. And she has her whiteboard. Hi, Kim.
I do.
Remember, if it's going to be, it's up to me. It's up to all of us to come together. I'm Sunny Galt. Join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for The Real News.
Woo-hoo! And we're back. We're back. Yay. I'm Betsy, and today I get the A word. Woohoo! The A word. So for sisterhood, I wanted to talk about authenticity. Easy for me to say, authenticity. And that is really about how a sisterhood, by either birth or by choice, allows you to have a safe space for you to be the real you. And based on 18 years of running the sisterhood, I had a lot of experiences to figure out, how do we find the authentic self in people? Like, how can I create a safe environment for everyone to be and be their real self? And that, I really took a lot of pride in all the years of all the creative ways we did that. So we did that through arts and crafts. We did that through working with horses. We did that through being in nature. We did that through fly fishing. We did that through eating s'mores, drinking slushy green tea, which, by the way, is caffeinated. For any of you that don't know, green tea slushies are caffeinated. I had 6 of them at an overnight and then spent the whole night running through the place going, who wants to do crafts? Who wants to do crafts? Who wants to do crafts?
You do that anyways, Betsy.
Yes. So people can see my authentic self, that I don't drink a lot of caffeine, and I was hyper caffeinated that night. So I found that by creating places for people's hearts to come together, that they could then stop trying to be something, as we were talking about. Stop, like start listening and start being, instead of trying to project, oh, how should I act, or what is expected of me, to really get underneath all the facade and really be their authentic self. So I wanted to talk about authenticity. And I was recently at one of my Camp Experience Network meetings and saw 2 of my favorite Lauras, Laura and Laura, threw them up against a blue wall and said, hey, this is weird, but tell me about being a sister. What do you think of sisterhood? So we could hear a little bit about what they think of sisterhood. So here's my Laura and Laura against the blue wall video.
Hi, I'm Laura Rubin, and sisterhood to me means love, connection, collaboration, having someone that supports you and lifts you up and is there to take care of you in all walks of life.
Laura Stewart, your sister in this wonderful sisterhood, and your real estate wizard, here to share my thoughts about what sisterhood means. Truly an inclusive environment where all are welcome and judgment doesn't live, which is a rarity in a position as a woman in this wonderful world that we live in. We certainly are very familiar with judgment, and welcome to the sisterhood of all inclusivity. That is what sisterhood means to me, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it and to help create that and bring other women into this wonderful, uplifting environment.
So I really love that they were talking about how safe it is, right, in a sisterhood, and we called it Sisterhood by Choice for the whole Camp Experience Network. Is called Sisterhood by Choice. I also did my TED Talk called Choose Your Family, Change Your Life. And I did a whole talk. My whole thing was an idea to share. And I talked about, as you go through life, you have your biological family. And I always say, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. So whatever you get, just like talking to a little kid, whoever you got in your bio family is who you got. Maybe you didn't get sisters, maybe you got brothers, maybe you were only child, you're adopted like my daughter. There's lots of scenarios in your bio family, but in your family by choice, that is what I think is the playground for finding, again, the people, places, and things that are like-hearted and like-minded to complement your authentic self. And I think that's what we're talking about today. For all of you out there, and thank you for so many great comments in our live audience about sisterhood. So girls, I'll start to give you an example. I want you to come up with 3 words to describe your authentic self. And they don't have to be all perfect. But like, if I'm talking about my authentic self, the first word that comes to mind about me is crafty. Because you will see on the cruise, you will see in Florida, the first thing I did is set up my arts and crafts. I travel with markers, basically.
She does.
So I cannot stop arting. So crafty. The next one for me would be curious. I don't judge. I just say, what would Jesus do? What would love do? And I'm curious about all the different perspectives, all the different ways. I don't think there's one way. So I'm always curious about ways. So crafty, curious, and I would just say creative. And that's a little different than crafty. Crafty is kind of like getting in it. Creative is like I'm always creating. I'm creating ideas and marketing and friendships and clothing and I cannot stop that idea generation. That is joy for me. I consider that fun. So I'm always interested in being curious about what other people are doing, and then being creative in ideas for them. So that's kind of my 3 C's of Betsy. So I want to see, girls, I give you a little bit of stall time to get your ideas ready. I was kind of stretching that producer Mike to give the girls a little time to get their words together. Okay, I'm going to go with Shay, my housemate for this week, and my friend tomorrow at the Big Pod Movement Festival Day.
Podcast movement.
That. I call it Pod Movement Festival Craft.
No,
So
it's called
Shay.
It's called Podcast Movement, and like my shirt says.
There you go. Okay,
yes.
Shay. 3 Shay authentic self words.
I'm going to say energy, connector, and I'm going to just throw this in there because it literally just happened a few hours ago where somebody called me the mayor, the unofficial mayor of Podcast Movement, and I will take that. Someone else gave that to me. I did not declare that myself. But it goes back to connecting and energy and love, to be honest, love. Just love connecting with people, love connecting people to people, and just watching synergy happen and sparks happen. And I guess that's why it's my last name. So.
I was going to say, hey,
Yeah,
like
totally.
Shay Sparks.
Yeah.
Sparks happen. Absolutely. Though I think those are excellent words. Okay, Miss Sunny, I'm just going to go around my screen. Sunny.
Okay, so my answer is a little woo-woo. Okay, so I just want to preface that because when I really think about who I am, and I have had these, I was going to say conversations with myself. I don't really know if it's a conversation, but these thought processes in my head about who am I, not just right now on this planet, but who am I as a being, as a soul?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh,
I think really, really big because I feel like it puts things into perspective for me as to what I'm doing here on this planet at this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
So for me, my words are a little weird. Okay. The 3 words that came to my mind are oneness. Okay. Which isn't really an adjective. I get it. But I am always thinking about everything being one. Okay. And if I have a reaction to something, then I'm, and I'm it's like a person really ticks me off or whatever, then I'm always trying to bring it back to we are actually all one. Okay. So am I going to be mad at myself? What am I going to do here? Right. So oneness came to mind as just something an adjective that I'm whatever. I don't know if it's an adjective, but a word that I associate. The next is steadfast. Like I am on a mission. And there are things that I have to do, that I need to do, that are part of all of this. And, just being steadfast. And sometimes I get frustrated and things happen and things don't happen on my terms and my timeline, my time in general. God's not always working on my time. Darn it, but I always have to take it back to what is the mission here? And then you just gotta stick to the mission and know how long you've been at this. So waiting a little bit longer is okay, Sunny. It's okay. Right. And then my final word is just honesty, because in order to make change, you have to be honest. We have to be honest with ourselves. We have to be honest with other people. Like, where are we at right now? Okay. And if you're just going to lie to yourself, you're not going to get to that next level where you need to be and do the things that you need to do. So sorry, guys. I know that was really woo-woo and really out there. But
it's perfect.
Actually, there's no rules on UnderWired. Are you kidding? Okay. I could be wearing a bralette right now. I could be wearing literally on the show. And there's no rules here. Lindsay, what are your 3 words?
Oh my gosh. I love these kinds of exercises because it seems like 4,000 words come up and it's like, oh, how do I pick? But the first one that actually came to my mind is magical.
Yes.
So
that would be, yes.
I have this way of being that creates magic. I don't know, if I'm in a room, I tend to be magical. I manifest things that are like, people go, how did you do that? So I love the word and it fits me. I'm magical. I'm also a clarifier. So in my whole life, I've been the kind of person who can sit with someone and help them get unstuck by listening long enough to help them clarify for themselves what it is that they're stuck in and how they're going to move past it. So it definitely describes me. I walk into a room and, like any good change agent, I'm going to clarify things. And many people are going to go, ooh, I don't like her. And that's usually a good sign that I'm doing my job. So,
Yeah.
because I am a clarifier. And then my last word is I am just definitely the kahuna of kindness and fun. I love doing things that are fun, and I love creating fun. And I'm not going to do it if it's not fun. That's me in a nutshell. So.
Well, I would say amen and hallelujah, because I get to share a lot of that with all you girls. Now, I know we could go on all night. We have so many great comments. Oh my gosh. Becky, calm, kind, understanding. Rashika, connection, quietness, kindness. So many great things. Kat, really responds to what Lindsay had to say about her word. So thank you for all of you. We'd love to have a whole show that we can just read all your comments, and that could be happening next season. So stay tuned for that. So Lindsay, I'm going to pop it over to you for Outside the Box.
I had so much fun being outside the box this week, and I had it on my heart that I wanted to do something or talk about or really engage in a conversation about people that go through tragedy and how sisterhood and brotherhood and community comes together to support each other. And I kind of posed a question to myself, why don't we do it more often? Why does it take a tragic moment to do it? So I got to interview a beautiful soul, Eve Hogan, really good friend of Betsy's. She runs the Sacred Retreat Center in Maui. We're going to give you the information on here in a minute. I was blessed to have her point of view on what's happening in Maui and how people are coming together to support each other in a time of great loss and huge, sadness, quite frankly. So I am going to turn it over to our little video of me interviewing Eve Hogan outside the box. Hey, everybody, this is Lindsay, and I'm outside the box with our beautiful sister from Maui, Eve Hogan. Hi, Eve.
Aloha.
Aloha. We really wanted to talk to you today, or I had a certain calling in my heart to talk to someone who's in Maui. And I know that I couldn't be there with you, and I feel kind of bad about that, but I also know that we're there with you in soul and in spirit, and for all the people that are going through such difficult times. Just to give our audience a little update, Eve runs the Sacred. Well, it is kind of secret, but it's more sacred garden in Maui that is a healing location for many, many people who've lived on the island for years, but especially now. So welcome, Eve. I'm so glad that you could join us today.
Thank you so much. I'm honored.
Oh, thank you. Well, so tell us a little bit about what's happening and how are people coming together to support our fellow brethren and sisters and brothers who live in Maui, Lahaina specifically. Tell us what's happening and how it's coming together.
Okay. Well, so this has been the most heart-wrenching week and a half or whatever it's been for everybody. And it's been really incredible because the outpouring of love is coming in from all over the world. So when we talk about that, I'm getting goosebumps saying this, but that community of brothers and sisters coming together, it's so big. It's a lot akin to 9/11 for us here. It feels like that, where, in 9/11, people were having to jump off the buildings to get away from the fire. Here, they were jumping into the ocean, which was not a really safe place to jump into in 80-mile-per-hour winds and heat that was insane. So it's been really devastating. And, but people have been outpouring love, outpouring money, outpouring time. I actually went to try to volunteer with my granddaughter at a couple of the shelters the other day, and they had to turn me away. They turned her away 2 days in a row, and they turned both of us away the next day because they had so many people and so many donations, and that they just couldn't handle all the people. And I went to the Humane Society because we foster bunnies here at the Sacred Garden that are waiting to be adopted. And I went down there with one of my foster bunnies, and I was like, what is going on? There were at least 100 volunteers collecting supplies to help the animals. And, because it's kind of the sub story that people don't talk about much, because the people and the property is such a huge loss, but the animals is a huge loss too. There's something like 3,000 pets missing, or no longer or lost. And so there's this huge outpouring of people trying to rescue the animals, trying to reunite people with the animals. So it's been, it's always, when always there's a tragedy, there's always an outpouring of people to help. And that is heartwarming. It paralyzes you. These kinds of things paralyze us. And while the fire and this tragedy is one level of paralyzation, COVID was another one, like where we all are still trying to find our way back out of that. And for me personally, I also got diagnosed with cancer during COVID. And so I was like, and then there's the whole political insanity going on in our country. And with all those things mixed together, I feel like a lot of us, not just me, but a lot of people are kind of cocooning and going in and like scared to go out, so this poignant moment of, wow, I've lost my path was a big eye opener and caused me to go, okay, I need to, and this may be relevant for other people, I need to intentionally recreate my path. I need to intentionally make choices about how I am supporting the community, how I am holding myself, what my attitude is, processing our own emotions about these tragedies. How are we contributing? What are we doing? Are we criticizing everybody who's doing the best we can, or are we sending them love and prayers?
Right.
I think we've gotten into this era of criticism. I think the internet has its blessings, but it's caused a world where everybody thinks their 2 cents matters. And that their criticism of others is valuable, and it is not. And so, we've got to come back to being a kinder community.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We've got to come back to being kinder and really praying for the people who are front line in these disasters. And like this disaster is on one level, there's a hurricane hitting California, and there was an earthquake in Santa Barbara, and the Yukon is burning down. And I mean, like there's a lot of things going on that we need to really hold some prayer.
And I think I'm really reflecting on what you're saying. And what's really amazing is that it's time now for the sisterhood, if you will. What you described was so much the energy of what I consider the divine feminine, and how we can hold the space for people who are literally in the middle of these tragedies, that have been going on for eons now. But you have nailed it on the head. It's time to be a kinder society. We've got to be kinder and more supportive of one another. And it sounds like that's happening in Maui right now. Just the other people who aren't directly affected are helping as much as they can. I was in New York City on 9/11. Same thing. Everybody helped, and everyone chipped in, and everyone supported. And I think that's the message of sisterhood. That's the message of being part of humanity. Being really good to other people. So I love
I will say the thing that's also really impressive here in Hawaii is the brotherhood. Because there's like these big, we call them moat dudes, like they're big brothers, But boy, did they jump into action for their own, getting jet skis and boats and going in around because there's been a lot of challenges in getting supplies to the other side. The road is closed. So they took boats and renegade water world, how to get supplies into the other side. And it's been really impressive. I have a neighbor who's just amazing, and he was up all night, every night for nights on end, fighting the fire. And, it's the women are doing the nurturing, the gathering of the donations, and the creating food, and the men are out there fighting the freaking fires and the waves. And, it's really been a beautiful thing to watch.
I love it.
There's one other thing I'd love to share with you too, and is that I've been through some personal tragedies. We've all been through a lot of big tragedies. And one of the things that I found is that tragedies are a very difficult time to start a practice.
Yeah.
But they are definitely the time when you're grateful for one.
Yes.
And so what I would tell everybody is to either strengthen the practice they already have, or start a practice, whether that's learning how to breathe and connect with your strength and your peace and calm, whether it's labyrinth walking, journaling, girls gathering in support of each other, whatever your practice is, make it stronger when you're not in the midst of tragedy, so that you have that available to you when you are.
Well said, Eve. That's exactly right. So, to our listeners out there, Eve, you can find Eve at thesacredgardenmaui.com. And she is a beautiful soul with absolutely the heart of gold. We just so love you and are so grateful for you being there as a bright light in Maui for those who can come and heal in this process. And
And can I add to that? Please do come.
Yeah,
because what understandably, all the tourists canceled all their trips to Hawaii for the next 3 months. We understand why you did that, but that's like not coming to, not coming to Disneyland because there was a fire in Laguna Beach. They're like not the same place. And I don't mean to say it that way, really, because we're all so entwined on this island. But like reality is,
it helps.
You did not know anything happened if you didn't go to Lahaina. The island is beautiful. You will see it in the pain of people's eyes. There's no doubt. And I understand why people don't feel comfortable having a good time in the midst of a painful moment. But what's happened is it's caused devastation to be way, way, way bigger than just a fire.
That's
because
brilliant.
People are losing their jobs.
Yeah.
Vacation rentals are empty. Restaurants are empty. It's a great time to come. Because I drove the road to Hana today and there was nobody on it. You never get to go to Hana with nobody else. I'm
going to get myself over there, Eve. It sounds like a perfect time to be there.
Because we need you. It's like, what a wonderful way to support the island is by coming and bringing your love and aloha,
Love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I'm Lindsay, and we're Outside the Box on UnderWired. Thanks so much, Eve.
Thank you.
Wow. Aww. What a beautiful spirit.
Oh, she has the most fabulous labyrinth in the middle of the island. We took a women's retreat there a year ago and walked this magical labyrinth. So she is a healer, and I know many are benefiting from her sacred garden.
I think one of the coolest things about talking with Eve and having her represent what's happening on the island outside of Lahaina is that she was so called to be in support of others that she's invited them to come to her garden for free. Just come. And she hands them journaling materials and says, just write it out. She's really just a healing soul. She's just beautiful. She's also, by the way, and I have to add this, even though it's kind of funny, she's a duck wrangler. We had to cut that out of the conversation.
She raises bunnies. She helps with ducks.
She does. She has so many animals on her place that they woke us up every day at 5 a.m.
That's hilarious.
Trust me. She's 5 a.m.
A love, but the message is really true. 1, have your practice before the tragedy strikes. 2, be kinder all the time. Don't wait for the tragic moments to be the one. Just notice if there's somebody who needs a smile today, as opposed to just ignoring them as they're walking by you or whatever. I think it's so important right now that we find ways to become a more kind, more spirited, more comforting community. And that is the spirit of sisterhood and brotherhood, quite frankly. So loved all of that. And I wanted to thank you for sharing Eve with me, Betsy, and for just, this was a really great conversation. So with that, I guess I am looking to see, has anyone said anything? Do we have any good commentary?
Everyone wants to go to Hawaii to visit with Eve.
Well, there we go. That's what I want to do too.
Sign me up.
Yep,
I'm in.
Yeah.
Can we go now?
UnderWired extra special. Yeah, UnderWired extra special trip to Eve's place. She can sleep about 12 in her house, and I already know how to do it, so I'm up for organizing that. We have had a fabulous day of interaction on our great studio audience. Kat, Diane B, Rashada, I know I said your name wrong, Cindy, Tanis, everybody really commenting. They love the words, the authenticity words. They all were posting their own words. And this whole sisterhood, brotherhood, that it's very important to put those things in place. And so it's been super fun. Thank you for our fabulous studio audience.
So we're going to break now, and we'll come right back with Shay and the Wow Woman.
This is Real Talk. We discuss important issues impacting our world and how we as humanity can come together, overcome our obstacles, and move forward towards a bright and beautiful future.
Welcome back. back. Yay. I have the honor of having the Wow Woman of Wonder. And this woman in this episode is my dear friend, Simona Constantini. And I met her on social media probably about maybe 2 years ago. And it's only fitting, since we are live at Podcast Movement in Denver, that it is a sister podcaster. And if you know anything about podcasting, first of all, we love to talk, we love to gab, and we get real deep real fast. And so Lindsay and I actually together met her, and within, just a few minutes, we were all three like, no, you're mine. We're not going anywhere. You're our friends forever. And it's just such an honor to have her on with us today on UnderWired. So here she is. Thank you so much, Simona, for being here for the Woman of Wonder on UnderWired Live.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, and I picked you specifically because, one, we are live from Podcast Movement, and you're a podcaster. You're an amazing woman. You're my amazing sister. And we met at PodFest, another podcasting conference. And even though we were connected on Facebook, as soon as we met in person, we were like, oh, no, you're mine. You're my friend.
You're mine.
Whether you like it or not, we're friends now.
I'm keeping you forever and you cannot go anywhere.
And so I'm just curious, out of your experience, how does podcasting, maybe even social media, how does it bring people together, especially women, to really build that friendship, that community?
I adore this question. And I want to say one thing that comes to mind right off the bat is a lot of the times I think people look at social media, especially other women on social media. And a lot of the times it's easy to see that as competition. This woman is doing better than me. This woman is doing more than me. This woman is prettier than me. She is more fit than me. She is this, all of these mores, right? All these things that we create in our minds. And one thing that I love specifically about the podcasting space and the people that you meet in this space is, first of all, anyone you meet in life is a mirror for who you are, right? It's like a mirror, or like a trigger to heal something more, something deeper. I find that other women podcasters just want to support and love and build each other up in whatever possible way. And so I think by doing that, you heal these like little mini triggers within you that make you think that there's this whole competition that is literally non-existent. And instead, you can form actual friendships that go far beyond any worry or doubt that you would have about seeing someone else play in the online space. So I think there is so much power in sisterhood in the podcasting space, and other women coming to support one another and lift each other up. And we can dive totally deep into this because this is literally like you and I's story.
Yeah.
But being so easily vulnerable and open and honest, and having someone like validate your thoughts and emotions in a way that other people just can't, because we're all of the same mindset, right? We're all of this in the same space,
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I think too, because we're podcasters and we're not surface level conversation people, we're like immediately diving in like, all right, let's get down to that nitty gritty and let's lay it all on the line. Like, what's going on and how can I support you? And I think that just automatically builds this trust. And that to me is like the foundation for sisterhood. What would be the foundation for sisterhood for you?
I actually think that my definition would be a very, very similar definition to yours, because I think too that, one thing that I keep trying to place in my mind is, why do I need to have such deep conversations? Why do I need to have such inspiring conversations all the time? Because that's the only thing that I'm used to. It's not that I don't care about people's story. It's not that I don't care about what's going on in people's day to day, because I do. But it's like, you get on a podcast and you ask these profound questions that are life-changing. It's kind of like you want to translate that into your entire life. And one thing that I found myself doing, and this relates more to like the sisterhood side of it, is opening up and having those types of conversations in the relationships that I had, even just with my girlfriends in my life. You know what I mean? Being authentically able to be vulnerable and honest and just like more vulnerable, more honest about how I feel, what I want from life, and the types of relationships and the quality of the relationships that I want from my life. And I think that all builds sisterhood, because when one person heals, you heal something within yourself, then you allow yourself to have a conversation with somebody else, and then that person starts to heal, and then that person goes off into their day-to-day life, and then they start to heal. You know what I mean? Like I feel like right now this theme of my life for the last few years is all about healing, and like healing and sisterhood go hand in hand to me, because I think that you need those mirrors in other people, and you also need a safe place to land when you need to be held. You know what I mean? So it's like a twofold type of scenario.
Well, I love that you said that sisterhood and healing go hand in hand, because I believe that when we share what we've gone through and healed from, is that we're giving the other permission to know that they're okay wherever they are. That it's not that we're judging them or being critical of them not being okay, because there's a lot of times it's okay to not be okay. But we just allow that other person permission to just be.
That's powerful. That is so, so, so powerful. And what I love so much that you just said in there is this idea of support, and like non-judgmental support, and the ability to just see each other for who each other is. And I think when you approach life from that place, yes, you're empowering other people to spark that healing and spark that journey for themselves. And at the same time, you're kind of like empowering your own self to find more of that inner confidence, more of that inner wisdom, more of that inner strength, to then take that and put it on a podcast. You know what I mean? So then you're creating this whole like ripple effect of people who are just wanting to show up and make this world a bit more bearable while we're here, if you will, like a better place while you're here. And then you do that by finding support and validation in people who genuinely care about you, And when you have deep conversations with people, you build a different type of connection that isn't the same as just meeting someone on the street or at a restaurant or at a library, like wherever, because you have this innate desire to connect on that deeper level, and to just not have it be so surface level.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
Beautifully said. No, thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
she is
awesome.
Amazing. Yes.
Yay.
Yes.
Well, podcasters are amazing.
Let's just be saying. And I love that we touched on how trust and the no competition is that's it. That's really what it boils down to. Let's get rid of that competition, ladies, and build that sisterhood. Yeah.
I hope to meet her tomorrow. That'd be fun.
Yes, I can't wait.
She's amazing, Betsy.
And she's flying in from Canada right now as we speak. So she wanted to watch it. So can't wait.
We love Canadians.
Canada.
So Sunny,
last week. Music. Go ahead, Sunny.
Sunny, hand it over to you.
Yes, you guys have been awesome today. We've been checking out the chat on Telegram, and you guys are amazing. If you have not joined us on Telegram, please do. It is at UnderWired Live. Don't just do UnderWired. You're going to come up with some creepy stuff. Make sure it's UnderWired Live. And keep checking in with us. This is actually the last episode of season 2. But the ladies and I, we just got together earlier this week. We're planning season 3 and maybe some specials coming your way. So we're going to do a lot of fun stuff. And if you want to know the latest, go to the Telegram channel. And we also have a website, which is underwiredlive.com. So we have our kindness coins, and I was checking out everybody in the chat. You guys have been doing an amazing job this whole season. The chat is new to us. We were planning to build out a whole community around that. But there was one person today that we haven't given a coin to that really stood out to me, and that is Kat. Love it. Who I believe may even be a fellow San Diegan. So if you are, based on some comments I saw, Kat, I think we might be close to each other. Okay. So here's what I need you to do. If you want to get one of these awesome kindness coins from Lindsay, DM Lindsay through our Telegram channel, and she's going to hook you up. Okay. Yep. So these coins are awesome, and we appreciate all of you. Season 2 has been amazing. We try to do something a little different each season, and this was all about the live show. So we can check that off our list. But like I said, a lot of amazing things coming our way. Find us on Telegram, And also, subscribe to us on your favorite podcast players. You can check out everything at underwiredlive.com. We love you, and we will see you back here soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Hey.
See you again soon.
I just wanna love you.